Hello there, and welcome back to TakenOffAir. It is
Late.
episode number 20-something, or something or other, but we've started at 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock today because of technical issues and food. Food was my fault, technical issues was on Jay's side. Because MacBook has won against Windows this day. It is very upsetting. Jay couldn't get the Windows computer to work because of a dodgy sound card, so now MacBook has taken
laptop.
over. So now MacBook has taken over, unfortunately. But anyway, yes, I am joined by Stefan and Jay today. There's no Jordan. I couldn't remember his name there first. I'm going insane. I'm losing my memory.
You're right.
I don't know. I've had a Chinese, and now my memory's getting wiped.
Oh god, the Russians battling with the Chinese again.
The Chinese are invading Russia. It's not good. Wasn't that a legit thing like a while ago? Everybody thought it was going to be World War III because Russia was pissing off China and America.
But Russia was just pretty much pissing off everybody, and North Korea was going, we'll bomb you. Yeah, and North Korea wasn't helping. And then China was getting a bit pissy, going, we'll fuck you.
I know Russia has moved stuff to one of its borders recently because it's having a bit of a conflict. I think it's Ukraine or something. They basically just moved all the army to the border, saying, do anything, we'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
Which is typical Russian style of show of force with 1 million troops.
I mean, it's unusual because it's not like Russia very often has a bit of a conflict with other people, as you put it.
Yeah, of course. Now, we are a little bit late for the 1st of January, but I did find a topic that I think I'm going to start speaking Chinese in a minute. I did find a topic which I think Stefan will like because it sort of takes the piss out of the French.
Okay.
I apologise if Will is here listening.
I don't think it is yet, but I love how it's just become I take the piss out of the French when everybody participates, but I get wrong. I get thrown under the bus every time.
Because you're the German and you're the one that hates them the most.
Well, what? I mean, they're no problem to me because they just give up when you invade them anyway. We had to go sort it out.
But apparently, April Fool started when France
decided to be independent.
No, it's from when they switched from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. Apparently there were loads of people who were slow to recognise January the 1st as New Year and celebrated April 1st as New Year instead, which eventually became the day of jokes and swindle to take the mick out of them.
I mean, only the French could go the 1st of April. No, it's a nice New Year.
I'm guessing time zones or some stupid thing. But
yeah,
there's loads of different stories connected to the celebration, but many people believe that it dates back to 1564 when the old calendar was replaced by the Georgian calendar. As per the new calendar, King Charles IX decided to celebrate New Year on January 1st instead of April 1st. Apparently, everybody just celebrated it on April 1st instead.
Decided to celebrate. He didn't decide it. He just went, that's where the year starts. But maybe we should celebrate New Year at the start of the year, not halfway through it.
Well, no, I'm guessing, according to the Julian calendar, the start of the year was April, and it would be, you would have spring.
Who uses the Julian calendar?
Well, everybody used to, apparently, and then they changed to the Georgian calendar when King Charles basically decided and enforced it, I'm guessing. People who didn't accept the change, and the ones who got confused kept on celebrating the event on April 1st. Because of this, these people were mocked and sent funny gifts for their misunderstanding. It's believed that this event led to the beginning of April Fool's Day celebrations.
Is this why the French just surrendered? Because the one time in history they didn't, everyone took the piss out.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So now they're just like, better give up, otherwise, didn't turn out too good the last time.
Yeah. According to other stories, fish used to spawn in April, thus eating fish was completely banned, Later, some people used this season to make fun of others by fooling them with artificial fish. People who were
like a
tricked
Billy the
on this
Bass?
day were called April fish. So I'm assuming I'm sure I've seen it in like some Willy comics and stuff like that, where you would gift someone a fish.
You would, wouldn't
some
you?
shit like that.
I just picture, like people hiding behind doors and so on, people water and stuff like that. Just people hiding behind doors, smashing someone on the face of the fish, April fish.
Yeah. Apparently, it's called poison poisson d'avril.
I was going to say, if it's poison, things have escalated.
Honestly,
from gifting
it's got
fish
one
to poisoning
extra
people.
S, but it's got one extra S, but spelled the same way as poison.
Yeah, because it's French for fish. Poisson.
And it says it's basically poison, but with a French accent.
Well, poison. Not really.
It is.
For sake, Kyle.
Poison.
Poisson. It is. You just say poison with a French accent, and it goes poisson.
No, it's croissant. It's like croissant.
It's not a croissant. That's a different thing.
And yes, Will with the right way to do it. It's poisson d'avril.
It's poisson.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. Poisson d'avril.
Why can neither of you say it? I mean, I'm probably not.
The thing is, like, you're the one that Will's having a go at you for mutilating his language.
And he's added a second F.
Alright, fuck you, man. Stop mutilating my name. At least I'm not saying poison.
It's poison.
When and where, Will? When and where?
But apparently, it's celebrated in France with great zeal. Children try to stick the picture of a fish on the friend's back, and when the joke is discovered, they shout April Fools, which means April fish, so Poisson d'Avril. Poisson d'Avril is not just a joke, but also a chocolate which is in great demand during this season. Playing pranks are not just limited to children, even elders fool the family and play tricks, blah 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 blah. Some people insist that the artificial fish has to be included in the prank, so it has to have something to do with fish, because that's the original crap.
So you're basically saying that on the 1st of April, even though now is the 9th of April, we can go around and slap the shit out of people with fish.
What I was going to say was...
Yes, Jay, if you wanted, you could go around slapping people with fish on the 1st
Jay couldn't, because he can't reach anyone's face.
That's like... So I can't understand the law now, that funny law that's still a part of the UK law. You're not allowed to
handle salmon in suspicious circumstances.
Yeah, so April Fools is the pure definition of... Yeah.
But,
it's just a pure definition of handling a salmon suspiciously.
I mean, to be fair, mishandling fish does sound very mischievous and like you shouldn't be doing anything related to that term ever anyway.
What I was going to say was, almost always practical jokes get out of hand. How long before people are waking up with like fish's heads in their bed, being pushed into like shark tanks, April fish?
That's like a budget version of Godfather. You disrespect my family, you wake up with fish head in your bed.
Sounds like it would be the Irish equivalent.
An absolutely tiny little goldfish, just retaliate with a full shark's head.
The Irish equivalent is waking up with a cut potato in bed.
No, Jay, you don't harm the potatoes. That's sacrilegious.
Exactly, you don't harm potatoes.
I can harm a potato if I want to harm a potato.
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 Why you suddenly started calling them potato? It's potato.
Potato.
Probably when he started harming them.
Potato. Smash them, boil them, stick them in a stew.
Right.
I'm
gonna move on.
Please do.
So we've had
before you wake up with a fish in your bed.
It was the Julian calendar. Well, to be fair, Jay, you sat in a dark room and all we can see is your face. I'm expecting some creepy.
He does. Why does Jay look like he's doing a seance?
At some point. He does.
I should get the spirit board, the Ouija board out.
You look like you should be reading horror ASMR.
Oh, why is it always ASMR with you? It doesn't matter what we're talking about, it ends up with ASMR.
I think Kyle hasn't.
Because I hate ASMR, and I've never watched or listened to ASMR. But like,
I think
Jay
Kyle
looks like the type of hippie like hipster person that would do it.
He is a hipster.
I'm not a hippie.
Although Jay's shaved the beard a bit, I've noticed, so we can't really call him a full hipster anymore. He's got the stylish bit going on again. Meanwhile, Stefan seems to only gain a mustache when he looks up.
No, I did.
If I turn the MacBook screen down, it's so dark.
Right. So as I was saying, I'm going to move from the Julian calendar and move to Julius Caesar, who basically put in place leap days.
Sleep days or leap days?
They were leap days. They've been put into use since 46 BC by Julius Caesar after he personally consulted a Greek astronomer named Sosigenes of Alexandria for the fact that 1 year was slightly longer than 365 days, and if they continued with the existing calendar, July would eventually fall on winter, which displeased the Roman Emperor.
Did you just do this to try and... Did you do this to segue in sausages somehow so Jordan would be happy?
No, but I didn't actually read the Greek astronomer's name until now, but I thought it was going to be like Socrates. I thought it was going to be something similar to that, but no, it's Sosigenes. It's literally S-O-S-I and then genes.
There's one thing you don't want in your jeans is sausage.
I know.
That would be uncomfortable.
But yeah,
I go away to turn the light on, or I come back from... I went away with cargo sleep days, and I come back with the headphones on, and I was like, the sausages in your pants. Okay.
Well, I don't know if the sausage is in your pants. I wasn't accusing you.
That's why you don't leave the desk.
Yeah.
I go missing for a week, and I'm going to missing again due to work commitments, and I come back to abuse.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
If you're not here, you're a target. You know that by now.
I mean, to be fair, we haven't abused Jordan too much, so...
Yet. It's only 10 minutes in.
Yet being the
True.
Yeah, yet being the primitive word right now.
The primitive word?
It is a pretty primitive word, to be fair. Thus far.
Thus far, yes. But yeah, the explanation is that in 46 BC, Julius Caesar reformed the calendar system. It was based on advice by astronomer Sosigenes of Alexandria. The Julian calendar included 1 leap day every 4 years to account for the fact that an Earth year is slightly more than 365 days long. If the calendar years contained exactly 365 days, they would drift from the Earth's year by about 1 day every 4 years, and eventually July, named for Julius Caesar himself, so this is probably why he disliked it, would occur during the northern hemisphere winter. So by adopting a leap year with an extra day every 4 years, the Julian calendar year would drift much less and basically stay the way it should be. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII provided the further fine-tuning that leap days should not occur in years ending in 2 zeros, unless divisible by 400. The Gregorian or Georgian calendar system is one in wide use today. It's the one that I've just said confused the French. But of course, tidal friction in the Earth-Moon system slows Earth rotation and gradually lengthens the day by about 1.4 milliseconds per century, which means leap days will not be necessary about 4 million years from now. So we've only got about 4 million years until leap days are no longer a thing. That's if Earth still exists in 4 million years, we might have bombed it to hell by then.
Don't look down on the humanity's ability to do that.
Humanity's ability to, fuck things up in general.
We have amazing ability to fuck things up.
What, us in general, or just humans?
I think both.
Humans.
I will say that we haven't been looking at chat again, and before when we were talking about slapping people with fish, and I said Jay won't be able to slap people in the face because he can't reach. Actually, he'd only be able to slap people on the arse because that's the size he can reach.
I mean...
I failed a pram. So...
That doesn't mean anything.
What would you do if you went to slap someone's arse with the fish, because that's all you could reach? They turned around, you slapped them in the cock, and then they moaned instead of complained. That would be the most panicky moment in the world.
Kyle, you know you're not supposed to delve into your own mind while we're doing this.
My mind is beautiful, leave it alone.
It's not when it's thinking things like that.
Right. While we're talking about food, I'm
going
to
when you're talking about slapping people in the cock and making them moan, that's not food.
Well, fish is food, okay? Fish is friend, not food.
Fish is... you just said it's not food.
It's right. Okay, I'm moving on to burgers. Okay.
Well, before you do that,
I don't want to sound pedantic or anything.
Yeah.
But this podcast sounds a bit fishy to me.
Dear God, Jordan. I nearly said Jordan there because that's.
I thought you were just going to call him George.
Yeah. Okay. George.
I haven't done anything wrong. It's not a Sunday.
It's your fault that
it's not a
confused
Sunday.
with the Georgian calendar.
Right, Kyle, before you do move on,
yes.
Should I talk to you about sunfish?
Sunfish?
No, not some fish, sunfish.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just saying some fish.
Ocean sunfish, right, are the heaviest known bony fishes in the world, right? Adults typically weigh...
Sorry, you when you moved, you sort of went like you were talking in a bath, and then as you leant back, it came back. It was weird.
Might be weird.
It's been one of the fish.
Adults typically, I was underwater. Adults typically weigh between 247 and 1,000 kilos. They are native to tropical temperate waters around the world and resembles a fish head with a tail, and its main body is flattened. So I will, as I'm talking, look this up for you. But they're absolutely huge, and I don't know how they're generalist predators. They consume small fish, fish larvae, squid, and crustaceans. And they're absolutely enormous, and I've not seen them. I'm trying to find a one for scale.
I think I've seen something to do with these sunfish. Aren't they, like, just ridiculously huge?
Yeah.
They are.
So it should be coming up on your screen now. They have few natural predators, but sea lions, killer whales, and sharks consume them. They're a delicacy in some parts of the world, including Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. And there's a ban in the EU. There's a ban on the sale of fish and fishery products derived from the family Mollidae. Sunfish are frequently caught in gill nets. But they're absolutely massive. And what they do is they live...
For anybody listening on the podcast and not being able to see it, Google sunfish, but basically if you've seen the image of the white fish that looks like someone's flattened it, and the fins are right at the back of the body, and it looks like it shouldn't be able to swim, but it defies the laws of physics. That's what the fish is. That's the fish.
Yeah, basically. But they live deep in the water, basically. They live at deep depths. And they come up and they lie on the side. Surface basking behaviour, they swim on its side, presenting the largest profile of the sun. Maybe a method of thermally recharging. And then it dives into deep cold waters to feed. But apparently as well, because like all ocean-dwelling large things, they get like barnacles and pests and things like that, that come down and that like attach to them. So when they're on the side, apparently seagulls will come and like nick the barnacles off them and stuff like that, and they just kind of let them. They just kind of lie there and let them because it's like a symbiotic kind of.
Yeah, it's like when you get the sharks that have the little fish swimming next to them that just swim in and out of the mouth, getting all the bacteria and krill and stuff. It's the sort of the same thing of it's a symbiosis thing of the sharks don't eat the little fish because the little fish eat the stuff that would harm their gills and stuff.
Well, do you know what I did learn about that? There's little fish, cleaner fish, and there's some small crustaceans like small squid, if you like, that do this. And they're like they have areas in the ocean where they go. So some what you're on about, where a gillfish will like swim with a shark and they'll go off its gills and they'll just pick at bits and stuff like that. There are cleaner fish that
shark healthy.
Yeah. So a lot of sharks will let other fish do that and whales and stuff like that. But what they do is they nibble like the pests, if you like, off the outside of the shark, like the bird that sits on the hippopotamus and eats the flies and stuff like that. But what they'll do is because it's covered in like a kind of thin slime on its skin.
Yeah.
Obviously, what they'll do is the fish, when they get a chance, will try and like nib at that, but it actually hurts the shark or the fish or whatever they're doing it to. So if they do it too much, then the shark or the whale or whatever doesn't trust them.
It's very much a trust relationship of don't do too much, don't get greedy.
The other thing I learned was a lot of them won't actually swim with a fish. They'll have a place where they live, like on a coral reef or in an area of the ocean. So it'll be an area of the ocean where loads of these little squids or loads of these little fish live. And then like whales and stuff will swim to there, or bigger fish will swim to there, and all kinds of different fish will converge. And they'll come out and just clean them. And it's like a car wash, but in the ocean. It's like the big fish will go there and the little fish will just clean them. But it's been observed that
you've been watching Shark Tale too much?
No, it's genuinely...
It's a Pokestop.
It's been observed that it's a kind of safe zone. It's like the oceans... It's Switzerland. So sharks will even swim through and, like, will not eat fish that it would usually chase and eat. It will swim through and stop and get cleaned and then swim away. So it's like a safe zone in the ocean. So if you ever fall off a boat, head for where all the squid are cleaning the fish. Yeah. Then nothing will touch you.
To be fair, I would assume that there would be places like that, because like even places on land with predators and stuff usually have zones like that. Like
it's amazing.
Places that just not hurt each other.
Yeah, but it's amazing how we perceive that understanding to be it's quite human, or at least mammalian behaviour, isn't it? You wouldn't expect a fish or like, you know, a crustacean to have the not necessarily the brain power, but have the understanding to be like, this is a safe zone. We can, do you know what I mean? We'll leave it here.
This is the thing, because like a lot of people probably wouldn't, but I'm of the mind of we are just a part of nature. Surely there will be other things that have our sort of intelligence and stuff, and I'm fully aware of some of the batshit crazy stuff that nature can do, because nature is awe-inspiring and amazing and can do absolutely ridiculous things, such as like the safe zones, or have like just these such balanced ecosystems. Like one little fish supports this fish and then supports this fish, and it just, if you remove one piece, the entire thing collapses. That's always fascinated me, and it's always been amazing, and I just think there's no way that these animals can't be intelligent, and not like realize what's going on, not destroy this. It's a perfect balance.
It's not necessarily intelligence. What I'm saying is, if you're like an apex predator, if you're a shark or something like that, they've got relatively small brains, so I suppose it could come down to intelligence. But a lot of that is sensory, and so like how good the sense are and stuff like that. And what was it, like primal? It's a lot more primal than ours. It's a lot less advanced. There's a lot of like apex predators that live on land and in ocean that you would think would be like, it exists to breed, to eat, to rest so that I can hunt, to eat, and to have energy to breed. And the only objective is to keep eating, to keep alive, and to breed as much as you can. And that's a very animalistic kind of, it's an animalistic trait that every species on Earth has in one way or another. But you would expect that is as far as it goes for most animals. There's higher intelligence animals, i.e. dolphins and chimps and most primates, in fact, and stuff like that. But you would expect something like a shark or like a moray eel or like a shrimp wouldn't really understand that. It's a bit complex to go, I can eat that, I can kill it, and it'll keep us, sustained for a few days or for today. And then to swim into an area where you just think, well, I'm not going to eat them here, because if I stop here, they'll get cleaned and they'll help me, so I'll not kind of soil this area, I feel like. It's strange.
It's sophistication and sort of natural instinct.
Yeah.
I get the feeling, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Natural instinct surely is to eat. There's food right there.
Yeah, but I wonder if they've also got the sort of thing of they do it at certain times so that it's so that like because I know sharks don't need to eat. Certain sharks don't need to eat every day. I think most animals, they don't eat every day. They'll eat
Yeah.
once every couple of days or once every week type thing, like snakes do and stuff. So I wonder if they've also got sort of the system in place where the sharks will go and feed before going there, so that the fish will know and they won't get
Yeah.
tempted, because I wouldn't be surprised if nature's put that in place where they'll do it at specific times so that the shark just won't be bothered.
Yeah, I agree, but even for that, the shark would have to think like to go somewhere or to know to go somewhere else to eat. If the shark was hungry and it was swimming from like me to J and it went past you with your the cleaning station, there's food there. Do you know what I mean? But it never happens. They know.
It's the thing like birds that just instinctively know how to migrate and where to migrate to, but they've never been shown. They've never had anything to do. They just instinctively follow this invisible trail, so to speak, type thing, because that's what it seems like they do. They just instinctively straight away know what they're doing, like how little baby turtles know that as soon as they hatch, they go for the sea. Is it turtles or tortoises? I don't know which. I think it's both. But just as soon as they hatch, they instinctively go straight towards the sea.
Yeah. So Will said, "Have you seen the fish that team up with the squid?" I'm sure I talked about it at some point, but yeah. So I think it's gobies, and I think it's gobies and pistol shrimp. I could be wrong, but basically they are together for life. So what happens is, goby, the fish, is very good at. No, sorry, hold on. The goby lives in the burrow, but not very good at burrowing. The pistol shrimp is just tiny, and it's really good at burrowing, but it's quite vulnerable. So what will happen is the team up when they're like really young, when they reach maturity, and what will happen is the goby will make a burrow. The shrimp will make a burrow for the goby to live in, but they'll both live in together. And what will happen is during the day when they come out to hunt, either the goby will go and hunt, and the squid will stay, the shrimp will stay in. And when the goby comes back, and the shrimp sits at the end of the burrow to hunt, but it's quite vulnerable. They can't see behind it and stuff. So what the fish will do is it sits above the burrow, and the shrimp has an antenna on the top almost, and it reaches up, and the fish stays where it's touching that antenna, and it stays perfectly still. So it's almost like they're holding hands. It's usually on one of the fish's fins, and if the fish sees a predator coming or something, it'll move so that the shrimp knows and will go away into the burrow, and they live like that with the even mates, or they'll have a pair, so there could be a pair of gobies and a pair of shrimp living together. But the two will stay together for life, and it's almost like they sit and hold hands out the burrow so that they know when it's safe.
It's a house share.
Yeah, which is quite amazing. And when you can buy them for aquariums and stuff, if you've got home aquariums, you've got the right conditions and you've got that kind of setup. But you can buy them for aquariums, and when you buy them, you have to buy them in pairs because they are in that pair for life.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
That makes sense.
It just proves that humanity needs to learn of the fish.
Well, yeah, and it's completely symbiotic. So there's no negative to it, really. They both get something out of it. So the fish knows that it's going to have a good burrow whenever it needs one, and the shrimp knows that it can sit at the edge of the burrow and be vulnerable from behind, but still be perfectly safe. And on rare occasion that one of them gets killed, or they don't team up, or they get killed before they team up, it's because either the fish has nowhere to live, so it's left vulnerable all the time and doesn't have a burrow because it's shit digging, or it gets kind of dug up because it's just at the surface, or the shrimp just gets kind of ambushed from behind by a chance predator.
Yeah, I think that's one thing humanity is lacking, is some of that instinct and some of that. I think
humanity's selfish.
We've become too selfish. We've become everything's about money type thing. We need to go back to sort of nature and just actually support each other normally.
Yeah,
I think that's why money should be abolished, and we should just enforce the federal economy.
Will has
this is why we are going to have our island with the federal economy exactly because we can go back to nature and just have this sort of thing, and it's people don't work for money, everybody just helps each other, and you just have a federal economy of your...
Right, hold on. We're on about how we should be more like nature and stuff like that, and how it's such a good place and we've got a lot to learn because humanity's just pricks. Will shares a fucking thing in my chat that when you click on it, octopuses sometimes punch fish out of spite.
Yeah, scientists have researched it. It's one of the things I have. It's like a little... It's usually used in a meme format because there's loads of pictures that go with it. But yeah, it's literally... Scientists have been researching it and trying to figure out a way, because it makes no sense for nature that this happens. But it just does, and it's just the fact that the octopus will literally just whack a fish with one of its tentacles because it can, because it's bigger, so it just will.
So we should be more because it's Will. It's Will an octopus that just beats fish up.
Will's a French octopus. That's the nickname now. Will, you're now the French octopus.
No, you should be more like science. You should be more like nature. Sorry, we should be more like nature. We should be more like animals. We've got a lot to learn, but not octopuses because they're pricks. Oh, talk about octopuses
because they're pricks.
Oh, dolphins because dolphins are arseholes. That is true, Will.
Certain animals. Just learn from the smaller fish. That's the lesson to be learned. Learn from the smaller animals because the smaller animals usually get on better and have community and everything. Oh. It's once nature gets to a certain size is when octopuses start to go.
The two things I do know. Like two interesting things I know about octopods for their penises to mate. Yes. Some do. Dolphins will annoy a pufferfish so that it puffs up, and then will bat around like a beach ball under the water because when they get stung by it, they don't die, but the venom makes them high. So they will bully a pufferfish for hours just to get high. And apart from chimpanzees and humans, they're the only other creature on Earth that will kill just for fun, just because it can. There will be just murderous dolphins. Yes, they do rape seals, but I wasn't going to go there.
I don't know if it's you sharing the screen trying to look, but basically you've got better luck Googling it somewhere else, because places like The Independent and The Guardian always ask you to subscribe and stuff, and they will not stop until you.
And
there's also a fish. There's a fish that it's one of the biggest. I think it's one of the biggest fish there is. It's sort of like the sunfish. It's absolutely huge. Or it's an octopus or something. I think it's an octopus.
Yeah.
Or like a giant squid or something. But basically, scientists could only find female specimens because they were looking at the wrong scale, because the females are absolutely huge and massive. The males are like a 10,000th of the size. They're absolutely tiny. They're this size compared to the female.
Yeah.
And it basically they never found a male version of the species until they realized let's go down the scopes and see if it's smaller. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest size discrepancy they know of in nature as far as I'm aware, but it's basically the female's absolutely massive and the males are just teeny tiny.
Octopuses are really amazing if you think about it, right? You ever heard the story of the fishing boat that caught an octopus by accident, and they just chucked it to one side thinking it was dead? We'll deal with that later. So they dealt with taking the fish out of the nets.
And is that the one that slithered away down under the anchor hole? There was a video of it.
No, not under the anchor hole. Not that one, but they wonder where the hell it disappeared to.
Mm-hmm.
So they spent ages looking for it. They thought, it must have went overboard, so it's fine. Yeah, and so they went to make a cup of tea, so they opened up a teapot, and the octopus was inside the teapot.
Yeah, octopuses can walk on land. I saw a video of one hunting a crab. It got out like a rock pool and sprinted across rocks after this crab. It's really weird. Well, we're on octopuses. You know how Nina's got an obsession with TikTok at the minute. She found a TikTok of this lass, and she was it was an American, of course, in Bali, student. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they were she was messed about. She was like, oh, look at this little guy and all that. She done TikTok and that. Oh, look at this. Oh, look, we found this little octopus. And it was sitting on her hand for about 20 minutes. Well, I don't know. Well, she said it was about 20 minutes. Well, obviously, the video was only a few minutes long. It was sitting on her hand, this tiny little octopus and that. And then she put it back in the water and everything. And then everybody on her TikTok was like freaking out, like, do you know what the fuck you've just been doing and that? Then she posted another video about an hour later going, oh my god, I could have died, blah, 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 blah. It was a blue-ringed octopus, one of the most venomous animals on the planet. If it had bit her, it was enough to kill 20, it's got enough venom to kill 20 people within like 10 minutes or something. She was just sitting with it on her hand, like, oh yeah, look at this cute little octopus. Yeah. The most dangerous animal on the planet.
There's loads of things like this.
She said seals rape penguins. Does that make peels? There's like seals where tuxedos.
It's the blanket octopus.
That's
the one I was thinking
Unless you get bitten off a blue ring octopus.
Because I'm going to keep on going to gloss over that, but the blanket octopus females can reach nearly 7 feet in length, and the males are only about 0.9 of an inch long. And they're also 40,000 times heavier than the male, whose energy is better spent locating a female than growing big. So basically, the males never grow big; they just go straight to searching for its partner.
Yeah,
it's meant to be like one of the largest things in the world. Largest discrepancies in the
I know another massive size discrepancy between male and female is anglerfish. You know, the ones with the big lantern, this is like Nemo, the one that gets caught in the mask. It's on them. It's got like a bioluminescent dongle, like fishing rod, if you like. Yeah. They're all females, and do you know why? Because the males are tiny, and as soon as they reach sexual maturity, they will swim to the side of a female, they'll climb into the gills, and actually bond. And they get absorbed into the female until there is just the sexual organ left, and then the female just uses it when she wants eggs fertilized, and that's all the male does. It grows to tiny size, reaches sexual maturity, then swims into a female and gets absorbed.
Yeah.
Have you seen?
It just proves that men are completely and utterly useless.
Yep.
Well, no, it proves that size doesn't matter for any of those men out there.
I love how Will's like, it sounds like my dating life.
You just swim into a female and then dissolve till you just appear.
Yeah.
Before we move on, with octopuses, have you seen the mimic octopus? It's one of the most intelligent species.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And also the ones that scientists will have to have a security to watch the tanks.
Yes.
Because they'll sneak out,
yes,
go into other fish tanks, eat the fish, close it up, and go back to their own tanks and close themselves up again like nothing happened.
They can change the colour in the same way a chameleon can. They change their body shape, and they know how to mimic different things. So if something will come to them, so for example, if a predator comes to them that will eat them, and they know that predator won't eat a lionfish, it'll pull its body in, wave its arms behind it like the big spines, like the big lionfish tail, and swim like that and turn itself like black and white stripes, or it'll mimic a sea snake, or like it just changes shape and colour and moves like all the time just to avoid predation. It's absolutely amazing. Kyle, if you haven't seen it, you need to look at it after the podcast.
I'll have to have a look. There is a film that I think you guys need to watch. I think it's something to do with mermaids, but there is a scene where the octopus guy basically has to end up like cooking part of his own self because he has to assassinate.
This is Pirates of the Caribbean. You talking about David Jones?
No, it's not Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like a really bad CGI, crappy, like low budget Asian film, but it's great because he has to. The faces he pulls while his tentacles are getting cooked is amazing. But it's really horrible, but it's an amazing scene. But anyway, I'm going to keep going with the fish thing, because as Jay says, this is the fishy episode. And it's that salmon is pink. All agreed, yes?
No, it's grey.
No, yeah.
It's because of what it eats. It's its diet.
Salmon is...
The meat of salmon is pink.
Yeah, salmon is pink, and it's usually the whole thing of the darker pink the salmon is, like the darker pink or orangey pink it is, the higher quality it's meant to be, the more you can charge it for, because that's what people do.
Yeah, but it is on what it eats, though, isn't it? It's on diet.
Yeah, it's all dependent on what it eats.
Oh, is it because in nature they eat red algae? Was that they eat either red algae or something that eats red algae, and that's what gives the flesh the pink colour.
It's because they heavily eat. It's heavy in krill and shrimp, so it sort of naturally turns them. It's sort of the same as flamingos. Why flamingos are pink because of what they eat. But the issue is,
but why do they stand on one leg?
Farm-raised salmon, so salmon that don't get to see the ocean, don't get to see krill and shrimp and everything.
Well, they live with cows in fields.
They're given a diet that turns them grey.
Yeah.
Like you said, that it's actually grey meat.
Yeah.
But the industry gets around this by adding pigmentation pellets into their food sort of thing to turn the meat the pinky orange. It provides the salmon with some of the vitamins and antioxidants they would get in the wild. But the pigment, because obviously they'll be fed other stuff. It's not the main feed. It's just like a part of the feed. It's like 20% of the feed is this pigment. The rest comes from all the other stuff. But the pigment basically dyes it, and they've even got it even lets them determine how red the fillets will be. They've got like a chart and everything to facilitate the selection process. Pharmaceutical giant Hoffmann La Roche developed a set of standardized color cards to measure hue for it.
To measure who?
A study by someone showed that shoppers, particularly wealthy ones, are more attracted to darker shades of salmon, which can be priced higher simply due to the resemblance of wild salmon. So it's a trick that they do. Interestingly, not dyeing farmed salmon would make it more affordable because it means they wouldn't have to buy in the pigmented food. They would just feed them like normal. But there's skepticism as to whether people would buy grey salmon or if they would just not buy it because of the fact of they're so used to seeing it pink.
The salmon and smoke market as fish.
It's the most expensive part of the diet. It constitutes 20% of feeding costs, but it boosts the profitability. But the issue is that it creates a product that fetches prices approaching those of wild-caught salmon, which makes things harder for the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, salmon. Yes, I know. I thought I was going to gloss through that.
I've caught a wild salmon. Yeah. What are you, a fucking ancient Egyptian fucking king? Pharaoh?
Yes.
A wild salmon.
But
you really a star.
No, it's causing issues on the Pacific fishermen and stuff, because it's basically trying to emulate their catch. So even though they're catching actual wild salmon and doing a lot more work, in the sense of they have to actually go and catch it, and they've got different yields at different times and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot more unstable. These farmers are basically just cheating type thing.
Yeah.
An abundance of farmed salmon also forces the fishermen to lower the prices of the wild-caught salmon in order to compete with the market. However, it is now said that apparently they do have to now say on the packet whether it is farmed or not. Like, they've got to put on it if it includes the pigment. So next time you go to a fishmonger or a shop or anything like that and you want to buy salmon, if you double check, I think it's the ingredients or something to do with it, you should be able to see if it's been fed this pigment, so you should be able to tell whether it's been farmed or whether it is actually a wild-caught salmon.
You say that, but one of the facts I had
fishing rods
before you do move on is, I can't find it there, that 1/3 of all fish sold in the world is mislabeled.
Yeah.
And it opens with a line that salmon is probably not salmon. Researchers estimate about 1/3 of all fish sold in restaurants and grocery stores all over the world that is packaged up as mislabeled, often due to deliberately mislead customers and to get them to buy more expensive fish. So
it's mostly like convenience.
So red snapper's one of the cheapest fish you can buy apparently, but a lot of people label it as tilapia, which is a lot more expensive. So 87% of snapper is mislabeled. Tuna like steaks is mislabeled 59% of the time, and it's a really common occurrence. It's a real big problem.
Yeah, Will's saying you can't mislabel licensed products in the EU. That's fair enough.
The funny thing is,
people will try
stuff that will, unfortunately.
Have fun in the Wild West of unregulated food, you fuckers.
I can eat fucking horses while people kicking off, and I can run around the fucking roads.
I know.
This is why we shouldn't have left the EU. We're gonna be a third world country. European unions are gonna end up throwing Band-Aid and other charity offence to feed the starving children in England.
I mean, to be honest,
we'll say
money we've sent to Africa, we could just feed England. But
we're fucked at the minute. Where's our rock concert? I hope they've got some good bands.
Yeah. but no,
in Kenya. Anyway,
so in future, if you're buying salmon and stuff like that, if you're buying a fish that's meant to be pink, if you double check to see if it's pigmented, and you'll be able to see if what you're buying is farmed or
We'll say you can't sell mislabeled products in the EU. How far the Wild West of unregulated food, chlorine chicken inbound. 90% of people in this country snort cocaine plant fertilizer every weekend and think it's cocaine. So I don't think some chlorine chicken's going to kill them off.
Exactly. I mean, I'm
sure going to be invincible, me.
Probably has loads of mislabeled stuff on it. But...
Drugs are unregulated. Yes, I know they are. That's the point.
Don't do drugs, kids. So the whole fact about that, blah 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 blah, salmon and other fish is on mislabeled. Is that mostly in supermarkets, or is it actual fishmongers when you actually go down to a fishmonger?
No, because that's fresh fish, so that'll be different. It's packeted up. It's packeted up, labelled fish that you would buy in a supermarket, or fish that you would buy off a menu at a restaurant.
Yeah, so it's sort of like if you go to an American restaurant, they might try and sell you what you think is cod, but it's actually a cheaper fish, that type of thing. Well, it's because that's the first European Union country that came to my head that I know for a fact has scandals like this.
America's not in the EU, Kyle.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. So it's unregulated. That's why they do this sort of stuff. That's what I'm saying. I said it's not part of the EU.
No, right.
So they can. So they're the sort of country equivalent, first world versus first world of us. EU regulated versus unregulated. In our restaurants, you can assume that if you order a salmon, it'll be a salmon. If you buy a cod, it'll be a cod. But in America, they might try and cheat you out of it by giving you a fish that's cheaper and easier to catch than cod or salmon, but still labeling it as that because they're not regulated by the EU. They don't have the regulations in place. I'm imagining it's probably easier to do on things like fish fingers and stuff, where everything just gets processed into mush, so it doesn't really matter too much. You won't really be able to tell from the taste because it's just got so much shit added in. God's sake.
Just on the chat.
Asta smart price Colombian cocaine.
It's 80% plant fertilizer, 15% horse tranquilizer, and 5% cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But it's only £3 a gram.
So
I'm gonna go away from fish.
Away from everything we're talking about.
Before we disappear from fish, has anyone ever thought to actually look up what is in fish fingers?
A lot of
I did
fish.
a while ago, and then I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what I saw, but I'm pretty sure it was 30% was fish, and the rest was just added shit.
All I'm saying is that one of the biggest manufacturers of fish fingers is called Birdseye.
Captain Birdseye.
Horse meat lasagna. There's nothing wrong with horse meat. It just tastes like cows.
Green giant.
Green. That's sweet corn.
Child, next topic.
Next
peas.
topic.
When the fuck did Green Giant do peas?
Yeah, they do peas.
Are you not seeing them in the supermarket?
Sweet corn, man.
They basically do like the just tinned veg.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm like this. I'm like so surprised. Like I found out at McDonald's did McDogs.
No, you got told.
I never knew that. I assumed it was just going to be an American thing, like how America has a different menu to North Korea and South Korea has a different menu to China and all that sort of stuff. Everywhere's got like different bits on the menu. They've got the basics, but a lot of places have different added bits. I thought it was just going to be like an American thing.
It's just like we were at McDonald's getting a cup of coffee and some juice and that for the kids in the back.
Some what?
And Ashley was like, "Oh, do you remember juice, coffee and juice?"
Okay.
Right, and Ashley just turned around to me. He's like, "Do you remember when McDonald's used to do like hot dogs?" I was like, "No, I don't remember it." So I do. Then she went on like had a massive. We had a massive, like, not a massive row. We had like a bicker,
a conversation.
A heated debate about McDonald's doing hot dogs, and I still am convinced that it never happened. But apparently, they did pizzas as well.
Well, if you're convinced it never happened, Google the fucking thing.
I don't want to Google it because Google will tell me I'm wrong. I don't like being wrong. And apparently, they also had a burger that was designed specially for, you know, how Christians don't eat. Apparently, it shouldn't be eating meat on a Friday.
Right. Okay.
They had a burger designed especially for that kind of for those Christians, but instead of burger meat, they had a pineapple.
Right? No, it wasn't.
Instead of burger
meat. It was for vegetarians. And it was marketed as a vegetarian Hawaiian burger, and it was in America. And when people got all excited, they had a big campaign for it. I think it was in the 50s or 60s or something. They had a big campaign for it and all this exotic advert and stuff. And then people went in to get it, and it was just a slice of pineapple about that thick in between some bread fried.
According to your brother, Norway McDonald's menu is the same as our menu. Thank you for that lovely information, Alex.
Is it? Do they not have like a bit of? I don't know. What do Norwegians eat? Fish and shit.
Okay, here we go.
What does the Swedish chef make? A forkaboka.
Oh, hold on, I'll let go.
Right, it was a thing. It was.
It's just Norwegian.
It was a seasonal menu item late in the 1990s, and in the summer of 2002. It's been a seasonal sort of thing, and in Chile they sold hot dogs for a brief period, and bits and pieces. In Tokyo, hot dogs were available from 1990 until 2004, and they'd been. It was called the McHot dog.
Of course it was.
But
the McDog.
But basically, Ray Kroc, one of the owners, prohibited the company from selling hot dogs regardless of potential demand, as he said there's no telling what's inside a hot dog's skin.
The guy who was in charge of McDonald's meat was dubious about a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
He basically said we're not going to sell hot dogs. They did like seasonal promotions and stuff every once in a while, I think, with it. But one of the main reasons they don't do it anymore is basically McDonald's doesn't have any pots in the restaurant, so they can't make hot dogs.
They don't. I mean,
that's legitimately one of the reasons for it.
The corner shop doesn't have a fucking cooking pot, but it has hot dogs.
Yep,
you know the rule of the hot dogs? You don't need a pot.
But that would probably cost too much, to be honest.
Probably, yeah.
It's a McHot dog. It was available in Japan. They were introduced in some Midwestern located stores at the option of the franchise holder as a summer item. UK, it was sold during the late 1990s and as a seasonal menu item in the summer of 2002. So it keeps coming back and forth as being like a limited time thing.
Even though they're not allowed
it's never been a stable part of the menu.
Hold on, so there's basically us running a McDonald's somewhere. The owner of the chain, the owner of McDonald's has went, don't sell hot dogs. and then somebody keeps selling hot dogs.
It is. To be fair, it's like a proper hot dog where it's like proper hot dog where it's got the bun, the hot dog, and then mustard on one side and tomato ketchup on the other. So it does actually look quite nice, honestly. But it's at the same time, I don't know if I'd trust a McDonald's hot dog.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be any worse than normal hot dog smells.
Then
again, if somebody who sells McDonald's burgers says, "Well, I don't really know what's in a hot dog," I don't trust hot dogs anymore.
Yeah.
You know that bananas can't reproduce.
McDonald's really sells, to be honest.
Did you just throw in that bananas can't? What in your brain thought we're talking about meat? Let's link in the fact that bananas can't reproduce.
That's food, and they're kind of the same shape. It's phallic. It's another phallic food.
Stefan, I want to dissect your brain.
They can't though. They can't reproduce. Anyway, carry on what you're saying.
Right, before we go on to the next topic.
Oh, we go.
Before we go on to the next topic, you know how like I have random questions now and then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I've got a perfect random question this week. I have been asked. Well, I wanted to ask this like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
But because it's because like 1 week Kyle decided to curse a soul. Kyle decided to curse a soul and speak to himself for like 40 odd minutes before Stefan joined in.
No, it's because they decided to actually give us pills, and the voices vanished for a while.
Kyle's pills started working.
He was medicated that week.
Kyle took his pills for the first time in years, so we weren't there to speak to him. Last week I was away due to work commitments. I was working night shift for a BBC programme, and I'm away next week, so I won't be here next week.
And I was bouncing around between using my phone and using my laptop, which unfortunately caused a few issues. I do apologise.
That episode is edited. It was supposed to go live today, but because of a tragedy that's happened, we're going to dedicate this episode to that certain tragedy. More about that at the end. And this episode will be uploaded straight away, which is weird for us. We haven't done this since 2019.
So yeah, last week's episode is next week, and this week's episode is this week because we've decided it's more time relevant and all this sort of stuff. Yes, but we're not going to talk about it until later because everybody's heard too much about it already.
Yes, but so I had this random question that has been suggested to me to ask, and I'll get to the reasons why.
Did we have any before you do that? Did we have anybody reply back saying who donated the money? Because I did put it. I think was it last week we said thank you, or the week before, or something. I don't remember. But
it was probably last week. So thank you very much for donating money to us. That money is going to go to buy our Asda Smart Price cocaine.
Yeah, boy. Next week's going to be good.
Please get in touch so we know who donated, because I don't know if we can see on the algorithm. But also, if you get in touch, if you want to recommend a topic or something you want us to try and talk about for a bit, I will happily try and delve into that topic. Just make sure it's nothing too... I was about to say risque or over the top, but most of our topics are, but make sure it's nothing too, that's literally going to get us taken off air again, please. Don't make us sit here and curse Kim Jong-il for half an hour or something.
I've realised that I can't find us on Audible, so I think we've been took off Audible again. We're still on Amazon Music though.
I found with this morning because we were in the bloody in the politician things. Yes, as Stefan's just put in, if you don't want to get in touch and if you want to remain anonymous for the donation and everything, that's perfectly fine. Just thank you very much for the donation. But if you don't mind being known, and if you want, we won't shout out your name just do what you want. But thank you very much.
Donate us money. Don't donate us money, and we'll shout out your OnlyFans account. Hey.
Oh dear God.
Right. So me and Ashley had this conversation about Kyle. I don't know why, but
all right, that's me off the hook. Then I'm happy.
Ashley's pregnant brain came up with a scenario.
So, why did you say that
scenario,
way?
You mean scenario?
No, it's a scenario. He's put on his
scenario.
Euro villain voice.
Scenario.
Yeah, he's Italian.
My poshest voice tonight. In a scenario, right? So Ashley's brain thought of this scenario of like she wants. No, I'll ask this question first, right? If you were a houseplant, what would you be?
What do you mean, like what breed or something? Cause... Did you say cat or plant?
Plant. If you were,
I thought you said cat. I thought you said cat, and I was like, what breed cat would you be?
What? We all know you will be a cactus, Will, because you're a prick.
Cactus.
If you were a potted plant, what would you be?
If I was a plant?
Yes. A house plant.
I want to say... I would want to say belladonna, because it's beautiful but deadly, but I'm not beautiful, so probably just something that's poisonous but doesn't look good either. Maybe, Jordan, what's the... Is it dragon fruit or something that absolutely stinks? And doesn't look appetizing at all. There's some fruit that absolutely stinks. It stinks like rotten flesh and garbage. And it does not look appetizing, but it's quite tasty. I feel like none of us go into like that category, but this has just reminded me of that fruit.
What are you on about? A plant that smells like garbage, but it's tasty. Are you on about dragon fruit? Dragon fruit's really sweet and nice, but it stinks a bit.
I think it's dragon fruit or something else, but it smells like rotten corpses and garbage, and it doesn't look appetizing. But when you eat it, it's delicious.
The plant that I'm thinking of smells like rotten corpses, but it doesn't. You don't eat it, so it's not the same one. There's the corpse flower, Amorphophallus titanium, I think it is. It's a massive plant that only pollinates it once every 5 or 10 years or something, and when it does open up, it smells like human flesh, like corpses. It's absolutely disgusting. And it's like a massive like event, like when people know where one is and stuff in the wild, like people will flock to it when they know it's going to flower and stuff, because it's such a rare thing in nature. So if we're not limited to houseplants, I'll be that, just because why wouldn't you be as inconvenient as you possibly can to humanity?
You have to be like a house plant. That's the question.
Durian fruit, that's the one.
Oh, durian.
I would happily be, right, if I was a house plant.
I think I would be a cactus, honestly, because I like hot environments. I like being hot and warm, and I don't really drink that much water.
Well, then you could be an orchid. Oh, Kyle, you would be an orchid. You can't put it in a draft. You can't put it in direct sunlight. It doesn't like to be in the dark. You can only give it an extra cup of water every 3 days. It's so pissy about any change of temperature, like anything. You can't be in direct sunlight, and you're really pissy. And the slim and tall.
I like the dark, though.
I'll be a freak.
I like the dark, though.
And the slim and tall, and the Asian. It's just you as a plant.
Okay, what would you be, Stefan, if you were a house plant?
A house plant? I'd probably just be a cactus. Yeah, an orchid.
A cactus.
No, not a catcus. Will you stop mixing up the fucking consonants and words?
I'm not making up. What?
Making up.
I'm not mixing up continents and words.
What have your cats been doing to your cactuses that you're not telling me?
Hello.
Actually, Boris, my cactus, Boris Johnson, is doing well.
Is he?
I haven't watered him in a month or so, but he's doing well. I think he's grown more spurts.
One day we're gonna come to Jay's house and he's gonna have a cat in a plant pot, just standing in the shape of a cactus.
Ashley's been watering him.
You've broken me, cactus. That's the one.
Cactus. If I was a planet, I don't if I was like a house plant, I would be a Venus flytrap.
Because you're paying the arse and you try and bite people's fingers.
Yes.
Why? Because you just lure things in by looking innocent, and then you snap and break them.
That's what I thought, but then I thought it's pointless. What's the point?
No, hold on. No, Venus flytrap is perfect for Jay because he's baby-faced and looks innocent, and then when you get to know him, you realise he's a twat.
But yes, but because he's thinking of the like horror movie over the top kind of Venus flytrap, and what I'm thinking is, the ones that are like a deep bell and it's just got a little lid, like a smoking pipe. That's Jay.
It's just because, like, I seen on Tumblr a while ago that someone put like a Santa hat on a Venus flytrap with googly eyes, and I just want someone to do that to me. Just put googly eyes on me and a Santa hat on the beard.
We can easily put googly eyes on your glasses and give you a Santa hat, Jay.
Why do you have to be a plant to do that?
Woo!
And how is this
it's less, it's less awkward to ask if you're a plant. You can't ask at all anyway.
This is plant related, and people do something to grow up in the house. Does cress still exist? What? Why did I never see an egg and cress sandwich anymore?
Cress? Yeah, I love cress.
What? No,
I've never seen cress in a while.
Yeah, why did I get egg and cress sandwiches? I mean, you don't get egg and cress sandwiches, but why are they on the sale?
It's in Asda. It's like 50p for like a little pot thing. I think it's because it's basically it comes in a little pot with dirt, so people don't like putting it in the fridge and shit. But I love it.
You have to put it in the fridge.
I'll usually buy it for like salads and stuff. I love it.
Yeah, but you used to be able to just buy egg and cress sandwiches. Now you don't. It's just egg mayonnaise. There's no cress out there ever.
I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to buy those type of sandwiches.
People decided they didn't like cress because it got stuck in the teeth because it's that sort of wiry thing, isn't it?
I mean, it's not like it's fishing wire. It's a fucking bit of cress. It's not like it's going to rip a tooth out.
I will admit, to be honest, sometimes it is a little bit. I don't know if it's bitter or like. I don't know. There's something about the flavour where it can, if there's too much in it, it can overpower everything else and just make it not taste very nice. It's got a weird sort of flavour, so I think they might have just.
You just do a little sprinkle. I like egg cress.
Yeah, I do. And it's a nice cheaty way of having some veg, because if you just have like a little bit, you can't really taste it, but like you can eat a large quantity without even realising.
This is weird. I brought up cress, and Kyle said, yeah, you can get it at Asda, and we'll talk about small price cocaine, and I'm just getting an email off Asda. Legit.
Your smart price cocaine along with watercress is on its way.
Asda. That's not what's but...
Yeah. I like how you've just shown that our group chat is called Dicks and Chicks.
I zoomed in so you to say Asda. I was trying to not give away my email address as well.
I know your email address. It's stefan@swept-aside.org. Oh.
Well, yeah. So the one people can thought it was on. My other one is just... I was going to say on my private one, but it's not, because at the minute it's exclusively for spam. I just get emails of all sorts of shit. I've got like a million emails. I probably get hundreds of emails a month, and I'll probably read about 3. Fucking emails for everything.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'll usually only check my emails for like deliveries and stuff. The rest is just bills and spam.
None of the spam. You know what my favourite thing about it is? None of the spam goes into the spam folder, but when I get an email off work, it goes into the spam folder, even though I keep telling it that's not spam. I get an email from work. Can you sign this? And my phone goes to spam. But I get an email off Asda saying, come buy some shit, and it's like, you need that. I shouldn't buy things online. I've proved this week.
Yes,
I've got a personal email address which mostly is used for applying for jobs, freelance shit. Again, job offers.
Things through.
Yeah.
Which is like, according to Google, I have 98% full because I don't delete my emails, and I had that email for fucking years.
Oh dear God, I delete emails all the time.
And I've got like a Warner Brothers email, which I don't even use, and I haven't been on working on this Warner Brothers production since December, and I still get email updates.
Well, sometimes you need to know what's going on.
My email address for my personal email address, I don't think it ever has more than 30 emails in at a time at the moment because I'm quite on top of it. It's got 30 read emails, and then it usually just like fills up within a couple of weeks to like 40 unread, and then I just go through and delete all the ones that are just spam. And usually I've got one that isn't spam.
Will said he's never opened the swept aside email.
I opened my swept aside email, and then I couldn't change the password, and then I haven't been in it since.
I told you, I'm sure. Like, I got there's been like a mass production email sent around how to change your password.
You did, but the issue is,
Kyle, I haven't worked out either.
I didn't try it after because I have to go back in and find the email that had the randomly generated password.
Oh God! Just send. Like, what you do is,
we may have emails for not responding to people, Kyle.
There's a support email which you send your password, ask for a password reset to, and they'll send a random generated one as long as you can prove it's you.
I'm getting emails from Acast and stuff. So, but no,
What
the hell were we talking about before we went on to watercress and all these random shit?
Bananas can't reproduce.
Bananas, okay. Because I've got
you were going to go on the next topic.
I've got something to do with submarines loaded up, which I think I was going to link into the water.
Submarine banana. Why do we always talk about subs?
To be fair, I love submarines, but did you know?
We're not talking about the explanation of the house plan question.
Apparently, there's only ever been one documented underwater submarine versus submarine battle. So you know how in like famously in like Red October, there's submarine versus submarine action, and the underwater and the shooting torpedoes at each other and all this sort of scheming and stuff. Apparently, there's only actually been one real life case where submarine has fought a submarine underwater.
Not one real life case. You said one documented. That's because if two submarines are underwater fighting each other, no one else can see it, and one of them doesn't make it home, or both of them. That's maybe why.
Well, no, I'm saying documented because it does actually say there's only been one like submarine versus submarine battle. Mm-hmm. But the reason I'm saying documented is because I am assuming there probably have been a couple more that just like neither side's told the tale. Like neither side survived to tell the tale because they've ended up being sunk by each other or something. But apparently only due to the fact that they are stealth hunters and everything, there's only one undersea sub-engagement has ever taken place under decidedly unique circumstances.
I can't.
It's not to say that submarines haven't sunk other submarines, but it's because much like in World War II and all that sort of stuff, submarines were on the surface a lot of the time because they still ran on diesel engines and everything. They had to go down and run on electric engines, and it could only last for a certain amount of time, a few hours, so they would have to surface. So a lot of submarine engagements with other submarines would either be done on the surface or it would be ships versus submarines, because submarines were made to basically be against...
Submarine versus a submarine on the surface while they're recharging is still a submarine versus submarine battle.
Yes, however, this specifically says submarine versus submarine underwater battle.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
That's the specification. That's why I specified underwater.
All right, sorry, fucking hell, just because I forgot we said one word.
But because there's the thing, it says the first touch kill for a submarine apparently occurred in World War I when the U-27 sank the British E-3. Dozens of other engagements have occurred during the two world wars. However, in all but one case, the victims were surfaced. This was foremost because the submarines of the era needed to spend most of the time on the surface to run their air-breathing diesel engines. They could only run underwater for hours at a time, and there was also not much very good sensory equipment on both the subs because it was the World War. They didn't really have all the hydrophones and everything that they've got now. So all these different issues, plus torpedoes, the main weapon of a submarine, is designed to shoot and go up so that it hits the certain depth of a keel of a ship, so it's designed to go up. You could change it, however, it takes time and it will still try to go up. The tin fish, as it's nicknamed, will still try to go up. Apparently, on U-864, apparently on February 5th, 1945, the U-boat U-864 slipped from its quay in Bergen as it departed on a secret mission known only as Operation Caesar. Its compartments were filled with key technology and resources that Nazi Germany planned on transferring to Japan. These included schematics and components for Jumo 004 turbojets to aid the development of the Japanese jet fighters, and 2 engineers from the aviation manufacturer Messerschmitt. There was also guidance components for V-2 ballistic missiles and 2 Japanese technical experts. It carried more than 67 tons of liquid mercury, carried inside 1,857 steel flasks. The mercury had been purchased but not entirely delivered from Italy in 1942 and was key in the manufacture of explosives. So what we've learned there is Italy's not very good at delivering stuff to Germany.
Well, I mean, Italy is not a reliable country in general.
Yeah.
Really knew that Italy was unreliable, to be honest.
Apparently, Captain Ralph Raymer Wolfram was given the mission to set sail in the long-range submarine north around Norway, then across the Arctic Circle past Soviet territory to deliver the goods. Germany was only months away from falling, but Berlin hoped that the technology and materials would allow Japan to stay longer in the fight and divert Allied power. It was classed as a cruiser submarine, and it was 87.5 meters long. It was longer than the more common Type 7 U-boat. It was designed for all these long-range patrols and all that sort of stuff, as well as a snorkeling mask to allow the submarine to sip air from the surface while shallowly submerged. Yes. So I think that's going to be a key factor in the story, is basically it was submerged, but just barely.
Do you think, it's just a random thought that's just popped into my head right now. Mm-hmm. Do you think, like, the 1,000-odd people who listen to us weekly, monthly,
want to know about
only tune in to listen to us butcher the English language?
Probably. What I will say is, can you imagine, right? You're an inventor, right? You invent this thing, you go, I've got a new thing, right? It's a new marine vessel. Thing. It's a new marine vessel, right? I'll go and call it a submarine because it can submerge. Right, what's the point in it? Well, it's like a boat, but you can go underwater and sneak up on people. Oh, that's awesome. How long can it be underwater for? Well, I mean, it has to be a normal boat most of the time because it's just about flow when you go underwater. And it can only shoot upwards, so it's useless if you're fighting someone when you're charging your batteries. But you can have it. Yes, it's long and hard and full of semen. Yes, Will. Let's see.
Just like Maddie McCann. Oh,
and it only does its job a small amount at the time.
Dear God.
Because it lasts very long and wet.
I'll cut this story a bit short.
I thought you were going to cut us out.
It does go on for quite a while, but basically it was a HMS Adventurer, the first of the new V-class submarines, and it received orders from the Royal Navy Command to hunt down and destroy the U-864. Basically, it ended up going there. They managed to narrowly miss each other, but misfiring of the engines allowed one of them to detect the other. The German submarine had to go back to port that had just been bombed and everything to go and get repairs, unfortunately, which the British submarine was basically sitting there waiting because it was hunting the ships that were at that port. When it was in its telescope looking for targets, it saw what they thought was another periscope, which was more than likely actually the Germans' snorkel. It could operate underwater for extended periods of time, so the German submarine began zigzagging side to side, having detected the British ship itself, so they basically probably saw each other's periscopes, all that sort of stuff.
Well,
after 3 hours of pursuit, the Venturer was running short on battery and would have soon surfaced itself, so the captain decided he would simply have to attack the U-boat while it remained submerged and then surface. He calculated a 3-dimensional intercept for his torpedoes, estimating his adversary's depth by the height of the snorkel that was protruding from the water. However, he also knew that the enemy submarine would quickly detect a torpedo launch and planned his firing solution to account for evasive maneuvers. So he fired a salvo of 4 torpedoes in a spread with 17 seconds between each launch, and then it dove to avoid a counterattack. The U-boat dove as well to be evasive, and after 4 minutes it had managed to duck under 3 of the torpedoes, but the British sub had launched the second pair of torpedoes at lower depths, so the 4th torpedo struck the U-boat, breaking it in 2 as it was diving. The gruesome sound of popping rivets and cracking metal filled the Venturer's hydrophones. The U-boat fell 150 meters to the bottom of the ocean, taking with it all 73 onboard sinking Operation Caesar along with it. More than half a century later, the wreck of the U-boat was found in 2003 by the Norwegian Navy 2 miles off Fedje.
I know that it makes sense. Sorry, go on.
It was discovered that they even found the cargo. It was the poisonous liquid mercury had been slowly seeping from the flasks into the surrounding ocean. After spending 15 years evaluating the risks of raising the wreck and all the dangerous unexploded torpedoes, it's just completely flung us around.
That explains why the fish are absorbing male partners and detach their penises for further use.
That's deeper than 150 meters, Jay. This is like the twilight zone in the ocean, or the midnight zone. Actually, you live where there's no light. I know that it makes sense, but how stupid on the surface does it sound that a submarine shooting will? What should we do? Quick, get in the water.
Well, yeah. It's sort of what they do, and I think they would have assumed that another submarine's not going to attack another. I think they would have assumed that they're not going to attack each other, because it wasn't really the standard and the protocol or anything to try and attack each other in the water, because you can't see what you're shooting at. You're literally relying on pure mathematical calculations and guesswork. So it's sort of for any logical captain, it's a waste of ammunition. You're better off just letting that sub go and hunting after the merchant ships that would be in the port and stuff like that.
That's the point for any logical captain.
If I was a submariner, I'll be fuck. We'll be Jay, do the mathematical equations to shoot the enemy sub. Yes. What do we hit? We hit Antarctica, 2 miles south.
The amount of calculations that go into this sort of shit. It was amazing.
I usually let you off this, but I know you're not great at geography. I don't think that. Where were they from? Berlin or something? I don't think that Germany, either way, is 2 miles. Norway. I don't think that Norway. That's even worse. I don't think Norway is 2 miles north of Antarctica.
It was
the truffle.
It was a port called Bergen or Bergen. They were near. They were near.
Like Berlin is a port.
They were near. Bloody.
I'm just as bad.
Norway. I'd be amazed if a submarine was at Berlin.
It's gone. It's lost if it is. Although, if you did find a submarine at Berlin and you were in your submarine, it would be very hard for it to dive underwater.
Yeah. apparently the Norwegian Navy found the wreck in 2003, and in 2017 they decided, because it had unexploded torpedoes and had like liquid mercury slowly seeping into the water and everything, they entombed it with a half meter of sand and 160,000 tons of rock to prevent further contamination, thus forming a cairn for the German submarine that had met its terrible fate.
Can we just upload this
on our Facebook Live?
There's unexploded torpedoes. Put 150,000 tons of rock on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
The submarine is actually split. The submarine split in half. I'm assuming the torpedoes are inside the submarine still.
Yeah, but still,
so
if it gives way, there's potential you could set it off.
Yeah, but I'm guessing they're probably still contained. And the thing is, you had to arm the torpedoes. They were never fully armed. You had to arm them before you loaded them, and they would never arm them until they knew they were firing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they're all unarmed. It's just they could explode if something tries to set
something really heavy crushes them.
I mean, I've got
for example.
one second, because I did go to the what was it? The museum in London, the Army Museum. What's it called?
Yeah.
Royal Armoury or something.
Yeah, it is the Royal Armoury. I couldn't remember the name for it. Now the podcast is silence while Kyle researches.
Alex has posted in the Facebook live stream, it's Bergen, not a burger, Kyle.
Bergen, he said Bergen second time, so let him off.
Yeah, but like...
It is Bergen.
It is Bergen.
It's Bergen or Bergen. This is a submarine commander pocket guide for the time period.
Kyle.
I got it from the museum. It's literally got bits about the German submarines, the American submarines, the English submarines, all the different bits and pieces. It's highly detailed and literally has excerpts from the manuals and all that sort of shit. And like, I highly recommend anybody who's sort of into engineering and technical.
Anybody who wants to invade a country and has a submarine.
Even if
just don't let us command your submarine.
It is amazing.
Because Kyle does not know where he's going, and that's how we end up 2 miles off Antarctica, and that's how me being shit at maths sending missiles to Antarctica.
No, I'm the one who flies and ends up in Antarctica. You're the one who fires torpedoes and ends up in Antarctica somehow.
True.
From that, I'm going to move on to British topics.
British.
Because it is to do with our... Well, the reason this episode's coming out tonight and not next week. So, the first one is from a website that is called World Tea News. Yes, indeed. There's a website dedicated to tea.
There's a website dedicated to cats called the Pussington Post.
I know, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Can we just...
And according to this website called World Tea News...
someone has sent a message to the TakenOffAir live stream on Facebook. Someone tell Stefan I think Boris is with him.
Boris? Who's Boris? Your cactus?
No, Nina said it, so Boris is with you apparently.
Shut it fuck off.
Who's Boris?
That's our believed spirit that she thinks is in here. And it freaks us out.
Do you want to borrow my Ouija board? Nina, do you want to borrow my Ouija board?
No, we don't want your Luigi board, as you keep calling it. Kyle's the Italian.
Not Luigi, Ouija.
It's Ouija. It's actually, do you know that it's actually we-ya? It's two different ways of saying yes. It's we and ya. It's we-ya.
I love that. It's a Luigi board. You put it down and all it says is Mamma Mia.
Start throwing pasta right.
So, according to our World Tea website, this is news from 3 years ago, so it's probably more now due to price increases, but apparently the average British tea drinker will spend $20,000 or pounds.
I was going to say, I bet he won't.
Tea in their life. So everybody drinking tea, in your lifetime, you may actually spend £20,000 on tea alone. Well, isn't that just ridiculous?
Well, coffee is bad.
I don't drink tea. Well, only we had like a shit ton of tea bags because like we used to have a friend who used to come over a lot, and they would only drink tea, but like they don't even bother with us anymore. So we had tea bags just sat there for ages. Then the baby in Ashley's stomach has turned around and says, "I don't like coffee anymore." So Ashley can't drink coffee without puking it back up.
I like eat it.
So therefore, she drinks tea more than anyone at the minute.
Yeah, but well, I don't know because I've been trying to cut down on Coke and I've had a lot of tea.
Kyle, Coca-Cola.
Kyle's cutting down on Asta's coat.
Cutting down on the red tins, yes. But I'm going through some of the topics on this website. You have to speak posh.
Speak tosh
when you talk about tea.
You have to speak
tosh when you talk about tea.
You're speaking tosh.
But some of the articles are quite interesting. For example, we have one saying, "Can tea rival sports drinks in the athletic world?" I'm pretty sure that's what they drank in the 1980s or 70s or Victorian period for athleticism, and I'm pretty sure it didn't help. You've got how to use it for the culinary palate. The 7 Secrets of Thriving Successful Tea Rooms, notes on 5 key strategies for being a tea leader. Apparently there is a revolution tea, and personalized water for drinking or making tea is now possible. So it's full of tea sort of topics, so if you are British, go and check it out. If you are not British but you like tea, go and check it out. It looks quite interesting. It does have products and equipment in random bits and pieces. But honestly, I just love the fact that there's a website dedicated to tea that isn't the Spiffing Brit on YouTube.
Kyle only decided to pick this topic out of the blue is the fact that Kyle has a massive obsession with tea.
He does.
I love tea.
Weirdo.
I am British. I love
Kyle,
tea.
do you want to make it proud?
I love how British Kyle is like the most un-British posh person you probably meet until you get him started on tea. Then his hands would go and he'd be like, "I love tea." Yes.
That's the Italian in him. He has to express with his hands that he's taught.
Yeah.
Get the Luigi board.
We require tea.
Get the Luigi board out and start drinking the tea.
I don't know. That was my contribution to that conversation.
Why does someone want me to say that?
I have no idea. I'm going to butcher it wherever it's pronounced.
Traskateltut. Traskateltut.
He's on the live stream on Facebook that I'm not.
No, Jay sent me it. It's in our group chat. Jay sent the picture because someone asked us to do something. Your brother, I believe.
Now, be a donation. Please go to patreon.com/TakenOffAir or acast.com. Support.acast.com/TakenOffAir. That's it.
Did you say support our dot?
I don't know what the supporter link.
Our dot doesn't need support.
We need support because apparently 37% of Brits think they have a job that is utterly useless.
I do.
It's World Economic Forum. Apparently, a growing number of people think their job is useless, and it's time to rethink the meaning of work. In American jobs, it's 47%. It's a 34% of people believe.
34% of people in the UK.
37.
37.
37.
So that's because the other 63% are unemployed.
Yeah. So In a study that has already racked up several hundred citations, scholars at Oxford University have estimated that no less than 54% of jobs in Europe are at high risk of being usurped by machines. Not in 100 years or so, but in the next 20. The only real difference between enthusiasts and skeptics is a time frame, because we all know it's going to happen. But apparently, basically everybody's saying, in a 2013 survey, 12,000 professionals said they felt half of that number, because they only did 12,000 people, half of them said they felt their job had no meaning and significance, and an equal number were unable to relate to their company's mission, while another poll among 230,000 people in 142 countries showed that only 13% of workers actually liked their job. A recent poll among Brits revealed that as many as 37% think they have a job that is utterly useless. They have what anthropologist David Graeber refers to as bullshit jobs. On paper, these jobs sound fantastic, and yet there are scores of successful professionals with imposing LinkedIn profiles and impressive salaries who nevertheless go home every evening grumbling that their work serves no purpose. It's probably people who sit there and don't actually do anything at all, or just sit there and sign documents and don't actually do anything, but they still somehow have a job. You'll find it in every sort of company. There'll be someone who never seems to work, but still has a job and still gets paid.
That's me.
It does say to clear things up. It's not talking about sanitation workers, teachers, nurses, people who go on strike, all that sort of things. They're talking about the growing armies of consultants, bankers, tax advisors, managers, and others who earn their money in strategic trans-sector peer-to-peer meetings to brainstorm the value add-on co-creation in the network society. So basically people who network and talk to people for a living, and who are just managers and things like that.
Managers are
shit a bit.
It is basically just people who have gotten to sort of the higher up positions, where there's positions like supervisor of da-da-da, where they don't actually do anything. They do fuck all other than have meetings every once in a while. So they feel like they don't do any sort of work or anything like that, but they still get paid. It's still a job, but they just feel as though they do absolutely fuck all. Which I'm amazed I'm amazed 37% actually admitted to it, because I'm pretty sure the number would be higher, because there's a lot of jobs where you look at companies and you just think that is a completely useless role, and you've only got that job because you know someone. There's a lot of places like that where you can just instantly see, just from certain job titles and companies, you'll look at it and know instantly that it's a make-believe job that someone's got, because they either couldn't get rid of them, so they downgraded them to this job where they can give them less and shit like that, or it's just a job for someone who knows someone who they don't actually want there, and they don't do work, but they've got this role, which is very unfortunate.
Oh.
I'm going to move on to Jay. You like films?
Yes.
And Stefan, do you like the Alien films? I think you do.
Yeah, I do.
You?
Yeah. I don't dislike them.
So this is about the Alien films.
Prefer Predator.
Stop talking about Starbucks in the chat, for fuck's sake.
I was actually talking about McDonald's.
Okay. Both anyway. This is, I don't know if Jay knows about this, Bolaji Badeo. I don't know if you recognise the name, Jay.
The name rings a bell.
He played the alien in the first Alien film, and it's his only screen credit.
Yeah, because basically Ridley Scott and a few people went into a local club around the studios, and Bessie was the really tall guy, and they were like, "Listen, mate, do you fancy being a part of this film was shooting? And he goes, maybe. Why do you need me? It's like, well, you're the tallest guy that can probably fit in the alien costume that we've got for it. He was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. So, bless his soul, he's not a trained actor, he's not trained anything, he did his best. He was very flexible and very skinny. So he was basically Kyle, but a little bit taller. Don't know how flexible Kyle is.
He was a 6'10"
just a bit taller.
So just a bit taller by like a foot.
So he tried his best, given the circumstances that he was. Yeah, he was pulled from a pub, and there's a lot of deleted scenes of this awkward crab walk they got him to do, and it just looked like a lost puppy half the time. But bless his soul, he died a few years later of leukemia.
Yeah, the thing he had he died from sickle cell disease in 1992. He didn't really talk to many, but basically he was squeezing into these rubber suits, and the acid was made of KY jelly to mimic it. They were looking for basketball players, and even considering the person who played Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew, for it, but they weren't quite right for it. They wanted like a praying mantis. So that's why they got this really skinny but really tall person, because they needed someone incredibly tall with long legs, so that when they crouched down, it gave the impression of like an insect.
Just a long-legged Mac Daddy.
He was actually the son of the Director General of the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation and a welfare administrator. He went on to study in Ethiopia and then the US before moving to London to study graphics arts. They saw him and called up Ridley Scott and everything, like, had a look at him. He had physical trainers build up muscles in certain areas of his body, and took up mime classes, which was to teach him to move, how to move according to Scott's wishes. Because the idea was that the creature was supposed to be graceful as well as vicious, requiring slow, deliberate movements. The issue with it was that the alien's head, nearly a meter in length, basically cut off nearly all of his vision. He had to do practice bits, like practice the scenes and everything, with the unavoidable sensory deprivation, but basically he could only breathe a little bit, and he could only see a little bit, and nothing much else. He could barely see what was going on, except when he was in a stationary position while they were filming. Then there were a few holes that he could look through, but it was terribly hot, and he could only have it on for 15 or 20 minutes at a time. When he took it off, his head would be absolutely soaked and drenched, so they would have to basically dry him, and then go back into the suit. Apparently, they did sound like sex maniacs, because when they were trying to find the slime and acid, they tried wallpaper paste and stuff, but it didn't work. So they got KY jelly, which was at all the pharmacies, hospitals, and sex shops in the area, and bought all the KY jelly they could, so they sounded like a bunch of sex maniacs.
Can I just... Right. Pharmacies... Well, the KY jelly was available at the pharmacies and hospitals, as well as the sex shops, but we went with the sounded like sex maniacs. Also, who is the person... Because I bet there was... whoever draws the shortest straw situation, and some unlucky bastard had to go into a sex shop and go, I want all your KY jelly.
I think they were just phoning them up, yeah.
Well, either way.
Apparently the suit stood 7 foot tall, but the set was only 6'7" So the set itself...
That doesn't sound like good planning.
The set itself was 3 inches shorter than him standing up normally. And then the suit added on a couple of inches to him, so that's why he was always permanently crouched and everything. It was designed so that he had to crouch and move like that. But he was on a shrunken set, covered in lubricant and largely blind. So it was not a glamorous job. Yet he never complained. He never complained. He kept it inside himself, and he just got on with it. Apparently, the quoted as saying that the supervisor says it must have been very strange for him to have been the center attraction coming from like literally not doing anything. But they knew they were dealing with an iconic baddie, and now they did offer to have him back for the second Alien film, I believe, but he refused, and he did actually go on to run an art gallery in Nigeria. He died aged 39, leaving 2 children behind.
Another random fact about that film, Alien, they needed more lights, and I didn't really have the budget to get more lights. Anyway, but they needed like a certain laser lights. But they heard a commotion into the sound stage. So they phoned up the sex
shops and went, "I want all your glow in the dark good blues."
No, they heard commotion next door about a band practicing, because this band was going to go on tour, and the band was The Who. And they went along, and this band's called The Who. So they went down to the sound stage next door at the studios they're shooting at, and they asked about the laser lights.
Yeah,
so
I mean, why not?
We annoy Cadbury's and what's his name? Elon Musk. Right? Musk. What Ridley Scott was wandering around annoying sex shops in The Who.
The sex shops.
Anyway, going from sex shops and The Who.
Put it this way, Ridley Scott is a northerner, and he asked. Ridley Scott is a northerner. He's from around these parts. Yeah. So if he could do it, then we can do it. Let's take inspiration from Ridley Scott.
I don't want to annoy The Who. I quite like them. Besides, they're getting old.
Yeah, you can't. You don't feel like bullying them. They're so old. It's just not fun anymore.
All right, Kyle.
We're not bullies. Right, segue from The Who and
sex shops.
Sex shops.
I am going to say just quickly, I did read somewhere that when Jimi Hendrix and the band were touring, they lost a packet of weed down a sink, ended up begging tools and stuff to completely dismantle the sink with like 20 minutes to get on stage. Dismantled the entire sink, got the bag of weed, I don't know if they put it back together, but apparently they smoked it, and it was some of the best weed they ever had. They did a fantastic performance.
Do you expect anything different? Also, I have film
apparently
things.
The Rolling Stones, their manager walked into their dressing room shouting, "The police are here." So they all began flushing cocaine and stuff, only for the band, the police, to walk in 5 minutes later.
But that was a bit of a sting.
Sting didn't play in The Who.
Yep. Not The Who, the police.
The police dipshit.
No, right. Sorry, fucking hell. This one sentence.
He said the police were here for the police. The band. The police came in. That's what
I got lost in that. I was reading at the same time.
Who turned up? The police. Who turned up? The police. The police who?
Wavelength is amazing.
I was reading. I wasn't going straight properly. I just said police.
Okay. Shall we go? Jay, you talk. You had something to say, and then shall we go on to our final thing of the night?
Before you do, I will let Jay say what
he said.
I've got a film related.
What do I have to say?
I don't know. I thought you had something to say.
I don't know. You were going to interject with something.
Kyle said you had something to say. So you better make some shit up.
Okie dokie. Right, did you know that seals rape penguins?
And then the babies are called peels, and they look like seals wearing tuxedos.
Not that. Okay, Stefan, go.
Oh,
don't put me on the spot without anything practice for.
Yeah, right.
I'm assuming it had something to do with music, Jay, because it was when I was talking about
we like the boogie.
Jimi Hendrix trying to get his hash back.
We like the boogie.
Right, Jay's got distracted by his own mind. So, Jay, do you know about
Stefan?
Ambience.
About ambience. What kind of ambience? Like facial ambience or sound atmosphere ambience?
Experimental film that was directed by Swedish director Anders Wiberg. So,
ambience.
I'll tell you about this. I'm going to tell you about it if you haven't.
Directed by someone called Anders is trouble.
So, it initially had a projected release date of December 31st, 2020, and will have a running time of 720 hours, which is 30 days.
Oh, yes. I posted this in the... Will, you should remember this.
So
I posted like a news article about it when we were at university, in our university class group.
So it had 2 trailers for the film. The first was released in 2014 and was 72 minutes long, so it is the longest film trailer ever released. He released a second trailer that was in 2016 that took the record again at 439 minutes long, which is 7 hours and 20 minutes. And he stated that he would release a 72-hour trailer in 2018, but it never came to fruition. And the second trailer was going to be a single take. Was a single take with no cuts. On the 3rd of January 2021, he posted on his Twitter, as well as on the official site for the film, C'est fini, which is obviously it's finished, and I'm sorry, Will, fuck you, before you even complain about my pronunciation of that. So yeah, he quit directing as of 2021, and it's unknown if it was ever finished, but it had a runtime of 43,200 minutes, which was exactly 30 days. And what was meant to be happened, it was meant to be screened once globally all over theatres, and then once it had finished, it was going to be destroyed. It was never going to be seen again. And I thought that was the longest film, right? But it wasn't. Because...
The Hungarian wife?
No, I found a film called Logistics, which is a 2012 Swedish experimental art film by Erika Magnusson and Daniel Andersson. It is 51,420 minutes, which is 857 hours, so it's 35 days and 17 hours long. The longest film ever made. And it is, basically, in 2008 they asked themselves where modern electronic gadgets come from. They conceived an idea to follow the production cycle of a pedometer in reverse chronological order from the end where it's bought by the consumer all the way back to the origin of the manufacture. The route of the journey commenced in Stockholm, proceeded through Gothenburg, Bremerhaven, Rotterdam, Malaga, and finished in Shenzhen at the manufacturer in Boan. And basically, the project was filmed in real time during a trip to and in locations at a factory, following the route of the product's manufacture from the store in Stockholm where it was purchased, all the way back to the factory in China where it was manufactured. So if you want to, and you've got to spare 35 days and 17 hours, you can watch how a pedometer is made backwards.
Honestly, that sounds quite interesting. Kind of would, but I don't think I would.
What I want to know is how does it take 37 days? Well, was it? No, 35 days. How does it take 35 days and 17 hours to make a pedometer?
I'm guessing that includes work breaks and loads of. I wonder if
full of people on the factory.
Right, like we should live stream this for Chowty.
Extremely short.
Real says he likes to see you do it faster.
I bet I can make a pedometer in less than 35 days.
I appreciate their dedication. I really do appreciate their dedications for ambience and logistics. To be honest, working on high-end TV dramas and feature films, it takes fucking ages to do like when you watch a film or something on TV, that simple 5 seconds like that will take a day or a day and a half to actually film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate their dedication.
Even like animation stuff, there was something that I saw for a 5-second animation bit. There was an entire page worth of comments and script that this part didn't have any like words or anything like that to go with it. It was literally just notes to the animator, and that was only like the first quick thing just to get like the basic outline of it done. There was then multiple hours afterwards, but it was like a full page just for a 5-second little snippet bit. So And that was just the notes the animator saying it needs to move this way exactly. It needs to go this.
Imagine spending 35 days following a product's life cycle backwards, though, in real time.
I mean, I feel like you could just take the CCTV footage and then just release that. I kind of want to release counter ambience, which is just called screensaver, which is just a recording of like a Windows 94 screen or 95 screensaver.
Can you imagine the audience in
for
this?
Like 40 days.
Can you imagine the audience in the cinema watching that? As soon as the little corner of the DVD, like the DVD or the little screensaver hits the corner, they'll be screaming like pure football fans, like yes.
Exactly. Well, that was the celebration you had. Seeing that little dot hit the corner, it was like the most magical thing in the world because you were like, come on. Oh, I missed by like a centimetre.
We were so easily pleased as children.
We were. I think we missed that.
Before we go on to the next topic, this is still on the film topic. There was a group of teenagers in America at the age of 18, right? So they are legal consent. This was a few years ago. They were film students.
I don't like a story that has to say they were of legal consent.
They were legal consent. So they basically needed money to help with tuition fees and other stuff because America is fucking expensive. They were unlucky like us. And basically they made artistic pornography and they called it a row of lights. And they used a Canon EOS 60D with a 35mm lens with Christmas lights to make beautiful, like these are beautiful landscapes made out of bodywork. And like when you're watching it, it's weird until you realize this is supposed to be a porno, and it doesn't even look like a porno.
Hold on, they were 18.
Yes,
but don't you have to be 21 to watch porn in America, which means they couldn't watch their own film for 3 years?
No, you have to be 18 to watch porn in America. America's back up. You have to be 18 to act in porn, watch porn, but 21 to drink.
I'm sure you have to be 21 to watch porn in America.
No, it's still 18.
Okay.
It's like all the weird stuff.
Well, it depends. Yeah, I was just going to say, but it depends on the state. Ashley's just said in the chat, it depends on the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I love all the budget stuff that you can find where it's people not having the money to do a project, so they just go to invent some massively weird and unconventional technique, and it looks amazing.
And that's the issue with Hollywood these days, right? Hollywood has all these massive amounts of money, throw it at remakes and adaptations of well-known books and comics, making like
something new.
It's making making statements of like things. Oh yeah, this is your favorite comic. This is your favorite book. Look at it on big screen. This was your favorite film like years ago when you were children. Look at it, remade, rebranded, renew. There's a lot of indie people out there that have amazing, creative, new ideas, and they're hard to get funding because it's a risk that a lot of Hollywood is willing to take, and that's just wrong. And that's the issue of mine and Will's industry.
It's the issue with every industry, though. Anything new usually gets knocked back for years, sometimes centuries. It's like Da Vinci designed submarines and airplanes and stuff, but they didn't get made until long after he died, purely because nobody wanted to try them or embrace the fact that he was a genius or anything like that.
I mean,
people don't like new. It's ingrained in human biology to be untrusting of anything new.
Do you know what I was going to say? Sorry. Right.
I like it when Stefan.
Yeah, no, my brain goes and then it goes too fast for us to actually think. I'm already about 10 minutes in the conversation ahead of what I was trying to say to you. Right, so I was going to say, no, you said no one wanted to embrace it, and I was like, yeah, but in the 16th century or whatever it was, that's probably totally wrong. Would you be willing to strap yourself to this thing that a man said would fly and just glide off a building or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, or go underwater where you could drown. It could just keep sinking and never come back up. And then it reminded us of New York thought that the future of post was going to be, the tubes that you see in films. These are in post offices and stuff, postal rooms in America, where they'll put it in like a tube and then they'll go up in it into whatever office.
The Futurama mail system.
Right. They thought that was going to be pneumatic tubes. So the idea is one that'll either have extreme suction or extreme pressure from the other end to either pull or push, depending which end and it'll be gone to wherever it's going. They thought that was going to be the future of post. And there was I remember, I don't know exactly, but the guy, there was an underground one that was meant to be like, instead of getting on the train, you'd put yourself in the cylinder and just, right? And it done like 70 mile an hour or something like that, or faster. And this guy was demonstrating it to people who were kind of skeptical. And he was like, look at how this boy will travel the distance faster than a train or whatever. And strapped his 10-year-old nephew, who was fucking terrified, and the singer just sent him away. He didn't even get any selfie. He was just like, lie down.
I feel like that would be brilliant, but also like, I think depending on the time period, he would have just become a chimney sweep or something anyway. So, but like, I want to know: did the child survive?
Yeah. Assume.
Yeah, actually, I agree. Someone needs to sound clip Stefan's noise that he makes for the pneumatic tubes, just for like a message tone.
Alright, Kyle. It's gone down to the 2-hour mark.
Right, okay. So it's time, everybody, for the main
Before
event of this evening.
It was Josiah Latimer Clark issued a patent for the conveying letters and parcels between places by the air pressure and vacuum. In 1853, he installed a 220-yard pneumatic system between the London Stock Exchange and the Threadneedle Street in London, and the offices of the Electric Telegraphic Company in Loughbury. And then there were 21 miles of tubes in London by 1880. So apparently we thought it was going to be a big thing as well. In 1812, George Medhurst first proposed but never implemented blowing passenger carriages through a tunnel, precursors of the pneumatic tube systems for passenger transport, to the atmospheric railway, for which the tube was laid between the rails with a piston in it suspending the train through a sealable slot in the tube. And there was loads of them. And then in 1861, the London Pneumatic Dispatch Company built a system large enough to move a person, but it was intended for parcels. The inauguration of the new Holborn station on the 10th of October 1865 was marked by the Duke of Buckingham, the chairman, and some company directors blown through the tube to Euston, which is a 5-minute trip. So yeah. Right. But I remember reading somewhere that whoever sorted this out, sent his nephew through first.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the main thing. As most of you will have seen, we Brits lost a very important person today. We lost Prince Philip. He has sadly passed away at the age of 99, only a few weeks or few months away from his 100th birthday.
2 months.
He had health difficulties. He was in hospital a few days, I think it was like 20 days or something ago, with heart complications and health complications, because of course he's 99, he's got health issues and all sorts. And he's unfortunately passed away today. It was announced at midday. So the world has lost a amazing man, a fantastic leader and royal, one of the longest serving. In fact, I think he's the longest serving royal partner and aide, and I think he's taken on some like the most royal engagements of, I think, any British monarch or royal other than the Queen, something similar to that. But basically, him and the Queen have been ruling the country for the longest time over anybody.
You were right before he's the longest serving aide.
Even other nations. And basically, yeah, they've announced that he died today, midday. Everybody will probably be sort of sick of hearing about it, because we know that for the next like 5-10 weeks, all we're going to hear is things about it and stuff like that. But we wanted to show our condolences and everything because we did take inspiration from Prince Philip. He was an amazing man who had legendary gaffes and opinions and just went forthright into every conversation. He constantly questioned any sort of event holder and things. He was famous for talking to any sort of event holder that he went to and just asking them question upon question, trying to learn as much as he could, and basically just being a pain in the arse for everybody, which is our hope to be. And he was always forthright with his opinions, and he never bullshitted. He was always straight talking and told it like he thought. He said whatever he thought. He didn't butter or soften his words. He was unfiltered, and he was fantastic. So we're going to have a minute's silence for our fallen prince. Right. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the episode, and like we said, our condolences to the royal family. Our nation and the world has lost an amazing man today. Jay can do all the normal spiel with the socials and stuff if you want, but thank you very much for listening.
And thank you very much. There's some comments floating. Will has sent a link to
that's
some
brilliant.
of the best gaffs. I had a bit of a wee look at them.
Yeah,
do you work at a strip club?
An amazing history. He was an amazing,
amazingly offensive
person. Like I've been reading about him today, and some of the stuff he's done in the past is just absolutely beyond belief. So
if you want to listen
he was always humble. He hated having compliments given to him. So
if you want to listen to our episode where we're going to just like a full episode about the gaffes and the comments that Prince Philip has made, that episode is called "Did You Just Insult a Ginger Prick of a Prince?" Kyle's famous quote there. If you like what you listen to, please support us on Patreon at patreon.com/TakenOffAir, one word. If you can go to our new Acast supporter, which is basically helps the Acast network creators like ourselves and many other podcasts out there. You can support us at supporter.acast.com/TakenOffAir. You can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/TakenOffAir. If you like to support us,
Jim might be able to actually get his computer working instead of using a Mac.
Yeah,
if we're
Apple
getting people giving Patreon
Apple
stuff.
all the way. If you don't want to send us money, we're not asking for money. We don't give a shit about the money. We're doing this for fun. We're happy to put our own money into this to keep us running. But the support helps us, bring more content and to be able to do our plans in the future. Well, Stefan's plans in the future, because Stefan has us all dreading the day we get us funding for him to turn around and says, right, this is the plan.
I have lots of plans.
If you want,
I've got a note dedicated to
I'll be in charge of the money.
But if you don't want to give us money, you can support us by following us. That's all we ask, and sharing our podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TakenOffAir or at TakenOffAir, Facebook.com/TakenOffAir. You can follow us on Instagram at Instagram.com/ or at, even if you're on the Instagram app, Swept Aside Productions, all one word. Or if you're on Instagram, there's a hashtag set up, which is just hashtag TakenOffAir. You can also email us at info@sweptaside.org or email us using the email above on the Acast supporter network if you're listening on this Acast app, or if you're listening on Spotify, there's all the links or down in the descriptions. I don't know what it's like on Apple Music, because I don't really use Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. If you listen on Amazon Music, you can listen to us on your Alexa. You can easily go onto your Alexa app, download our Alexa skill. We have an Alexa skill. That's how, shit we are.
I was just going to say shit.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you.
Just check out our website. It'll have all the details for other stuff there, as well as the merch, which none of us are sporting today, but we do have merch and bits and pieces.
Yeah, if you want to support us and you want something in return, go to TakenOffAir.com and we ship worldwide.
And you can buy all of the merch that we have and are not wearing.
Yes.
Because we all have different bits of merch, and we'll all have at least 2 bits of merch, but we're not wearing any of it.
Yeah, I will say the T-shirt is very comfy. The dad cap is very nice. The jumpers look very comfy. These two can speak about that. But I will say
the hoodies are very comfy, and the normal people cap is really comfortable as well. I wear it more than my usual one.
Thanks, but no, I will say that we do. I know we've said the Patreon and everything like that. I firmly believe that it's always better to get something back for your money. So if you buy the merch, you are instantly getting something back. It's a comfortable shirt, comfortable jumper, something like that.
And we will not sell you anything that we wouldn't happily wear ourselves.
Exactly. We never sell anything we wouldn't use.
On Patreon, if you support us on Patreon, you can get access to legit an hour of Kyle talking to himself.
Yes, and even without spending any money, the more you get other people involved, the more you share us, the more you interact with us, comment on things. Just the bigger you make us, then the more we can do for you, because we have got a lot of plans, but we need a bigger audience. We want everybody to be interacting. And you don't have to spend any money on it. Just if you enjoy it, support it, share it, talk to it.
We want to take over the world, or at least get our own country running on Fredos.
You don't meant to tell them that. We'll invade.
Please support us and we'll give you Freddles.
We'll give you a Freddle. Maybe.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure. It's always been a pleasure, gents, talking with you guys as well. And we'll see you all next time.
See you all next time. Bye, bitch! You know what, come to think of this, at least the Queen just can keep her Land Rover safe.
I really need a piss.
So uncivilized.
The Land Rover was safe, it's the cars are getting its way that way.